Good morning, all. Today we are going to explain the relative pronouns. The lesson is named relative clause. So we have here relative pronouns. We need first to know when we have or use why we have to use the relative pronouns. We use the relative pronouns to connect between two sentences. Um that's why we named it relative. So this is the first reason for why we have to use the relative pronoun. The second reason that we are giving and you information about something in the second sentence. So, for example, um, the man who I spoke to was very polite. So I gave an information about the man who I spoke to. So here I am giving a new information about someone or something. So those are the reasons to use the relative pronouns. So this is the part of why we have to use them. Now let's talk about the pronouns themselves. Here we have six pronouns, which is who, which, that, whose, where, and when. Okay, let's start by who. When we have to use who, we use who for people, um, subjects, or objects, but for people. So, for example, if I'm talking about a man or Mr. Ahmed here, he is Mr. Ahmed, who I got all information from. So, I gave you a new information about Mr. Ahmed. And here I gave a new information about the man, which was very, or who was very happy, very polite, sorry. Okay, so we use who when we try to talk about people. The second relative pronoun is which, and we use which for things, any kind of things, plants, animals, any thing. So when I'm talking, for example, about club, camera, or even cat, dog, anything which is not people, yani, so we are using which as a relative pronoun. So, for example, I am writing about the film which produced in 1958. So here we are talking about film or the film. So that's why we used which instead of who, because here we aren't talking about people. Okay, so, the second example, I bought the camera which I gave to Rana. So I gave you a new information about the camera, and because we are talking about the camera, so we used which as a relative pronoun, and so on. Okay, so the third relative pronoun is that, and that is used instead of who or which. So we are using that instead of who when we are talking about people, or instead of which uh, when we are talking about things. Okay, so let's talk about the next pronoun, which is who, whose. Yes, and this is for position. Um, and let's concentrate or focus about this part because we need to make it clear. Whose, we said that we are using whose for position. What is the meaning of position? When I am owning something like a book, this is my book, or this is my car, or this is my house. So I own this thing. Okay, so this is the position. But we are not talking only about someone who owns something. No, not only that. We can use whose also when we are talking about someone who related to someone, like dad and his mother and his daughter, mother and her son, man and his wife, and or wife and her husband. But here we cannot say position because we cannot say that someone can position another one. So we can say that generally we use whose with position when we own something or when someone related to another one. Let's take examples. The first example is saying the boy whose bicycle was stolen is the police station. Is at the police station. Okay, so here we are talking about the boy. No. Okay. I mean, no, I mean that we are not talking about the people. So maybe you see boy, so you are telling me or try to choose who, not whose, because we are talking about the boy, and the boy is a person. So no, try to get the meaning of the sentence. The meaning is saying that the boy's bicycle. So he is talking about the bicycles related to the boy. So the boy is owned the bicycle. So the boy whose bicycle, I mean, the boy's bicycle was stolen, uh, is at the police station. And I give here new information about boy's bicycle. Okay, so this is the position. Okay, the man whose car is Mercedes is my uncle. Here, I gave you about information about the man whose car is Mercedes. But here we are talking about position. That's why we choose whose, yes. So the man whose car mean man's car. So this is the position, okay? Or I can say, um, this is the man whose son uh, is in my class, for example. Or this is a doctor. No, whose son? Yes, whose son? Or this is the woman whose jewelry was stolen. So I'm talking about her jewelry. So this is the position. Okay, so or this is the man whose car was stolen also, or something like that. So for example, we are using, or in generally, we are using whose with position when we are talking about someone who owns something or someone who related to someone. Okay, and you try to get this from the meaning. Do not look or judge from the first or answer from the first site. On here we see boy, so we can't use who as it's people. No, so we have to get the full meaning of the sentence to know we are talking about whether we are talking about position or people or something. Okay, the next pronoun is where, and of course we are using where for places. So that is the club where we go every Friday. So here we are talking about the club, but let's notice something. We need to know when we have to use which with something, because the club is something, and when we have to use where with the same club. Okay, so if we are talking about the club as a place we are going every Friday, or we go every Friday. So here we have to use where because we are talking about the club as a place. But if we talk about the club as a thing, so here we have to use which as it's something, not place. This is the house where I live. So here I'm talking about the house or my house as a place. which or where in which I live. And for example, or for your information, I can use to which or in which instead of where. So we will see this uh, when we start solving. When the next pronoun is when you use when for times or for uh, when we talk about time, yes. So Friday is my favorite day when I visit my relatives. So Friday, I'm talking about about a day of the week of a week. So I am using when because I'm talking about time, which is Friday. So Friday is my favorite day. I'm talking about the day. So it is time. So I have to use when. And here, 8 o'clock is when I usually go to school. So I'm talking about time also. So I used when for the answer. Okay. Let's solve some examples. Now, the first one, that's the family space dog rescued the child. Here, try to solve this question. Yes, we can use whose because here there is a position. That's the family whose dog rescued the child. So we are talking about the family's dog. So this is here is a position. The second one, there is the building space my friend works. There is the building space my friend works. So here we are talking about the building as a place, not something. So here we have to use the relative pronoun where. Okay, so there is the building where my friend works because I'm talking about a place. Okay, here Vicky space mother works in the safari park is my best friend. So I gave an information here about the first sentence. Okay, so let's check the meaning here. Think and try to solve. Thank you. The answer will be whose. Vicky, whose mother works in the safari park. So I'm talking about Vicky, whose mother works in the safari park is my best friend. So here is it's not positioning, but it's relating to someone, and we said that we can use whose in this case. Okay, so try to solve the rest of the sentences or the examples. Sorry, and uh, study well and goodbye.